Welcome to the Bitcoin Business Podcast. I am your host, Brandon Karpeles. This is put on by Sovereign, the company I am the CEO of, and we try to talk to various people in the Bitcoin eco space or not in the Bitcoin eco space. And really, the focus of this podcast is to hear how people have integrated Bitcoin into their business, what it's done for them, let them tell their story. And as I always say, we like to do the background story. We like to hear the journey because and I know maybe some people are tired of the rabbit hole story or how everyone got to Bitcoin, but I think it's important. I think for business owners, for people hearing the idea that someone came to Bitcoin through a completely different way than another person and understanding how they got to the point where they made the decision to start integrating it into their business, accepting it as payment, holding it on the balance sheet. I think that's valuable for other business owners to hear. So today, my guest is none other than Oshi, and that is his name on Nostr. I'm actually not sure if you're on other platforms because I'm only on Nostr.
Mhm.
And we'll let Oshi talk about what he sells, but he's well known on Nostr for selling his nut butter bars and some THC chocolates and some other things. So, without further ado, Oshi, welcome to the show, one. And two, why don't you tell us about how you came to Bitcoin and why you started your business and why you decided to incorporate Bitcoin into your business?
Just first off, thanks for having me on here. It's really cool. I've never really do these kinds of things, so it's like good practice for me to just kind of like speak my mind to people, I guess, that are receptive of this kind of stuff. But um,
Well, I'm honored that you would join us. So,
yeah.
thank
So I find myself as still being like a quote unquote noob in like Bitcoin, but also just like the whole development side of things and Lightning and all these kinds of technical things. But my journey has been kind of really interesting. Um, I toured a lot in like bands. I play guitar, so I toured a lot in bands. I've seen and traveled quite a bit. Did the whole merch at the table at night kind of thing, talking to people, slinging stuff, and just kind of like being the seller of goods and talking to people and just I don't know exchanging information like that. And after traveling so much and doing all that, I started like doing my own kind of businesses and somehow stumbled upon uh, looking at markets, like trading and stuff. And because I was just really curious about the way markets move and the psychology behind it. And one thing led to another and started learning more deeply about just like networks and then Bitcoin came on the map. I can't remember exactly when. It was probably in like 2019 or so. Probably forgetting a bunch of details here, but 2019 was like my real first exposure to like what it was. And after diddling around with like looking at other markets and whatnot, uh, around
you. Is
20.
that code for shitcoins?
No, well, I mean, I did have like Ethereum at one point because that, like everybody's early journey into this, we all kind of, I mean, maybe not all of us. I mean,
Oh, most of us.
most of us, right? Like, but the thing is, what stopped me with Ethereum is that, like, the whole NFTs thing, that just, like, the concept was there. I thought it was cool, but I just never did anything with it because I do a lot of other photography stuff. So I was looking at it for, like, more of, like, a digital art kind of thing, but it just didn't click with me. So I kind of abandoned it. And then, and then I can't remember who it was. I might have came across either Giovanni Santastasi, who's like who talks about the power law about Bitcoin,
Sure.
and I think that was the thing that really clicked for me. Understanding that this Bitcoin thing, has this network effect that follows a power law, which is all found throughout nature. So it like threw me down this rabbit hole of like understanding this natural effect of how Bitcoin is essentially working, and then it again threw me down another hole of understanding how money works and the whole history of that. And yeah, it's just been kind of like a whirlwind since, to be honest. But it's been really interesting, and I'm very thankful that I've been forced to learn all these things. So I'm kind of like scrambling now to keep up and uh, take advantage of like what's going on here because it's like it's a lot to take in.
It's so much. It's overwhelming. And I was listening to Daniel Prince's podcast, the Once Bitten podcast, and he had Kaz, BTC Kaz on, and his whole product is basically the acknowledgement that there's too much material for all of us to take in out there. It's impossible. And he's working on a program to basically curate material so we can absorb it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it is way too much. It's overwhelming. It's funny you say that. I kind of had that realization, I mean, like a decade ago,
Mm-hmm.
just listening to podcasts. I was very early into podcasts. I was listening to podcasts back when it was like Adam Carolla, Ricky Gervais, and like a few other people were doing a podcast. And then as it grew, more people were doing it. It got to a point where I sat there and went, I will never be able to listen to all the content that's been created in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a stark realization for me that it was like, holy cow, like, you feel like, okay, I'm going to school, I'm going to get educated in this one thing, I'm going to absorb all the information I can on this, and to be hit with kind of the digital reality of there's just so much out there that
Mm-hmm.
I can't get it all in my lifetime was kind of it was shocking, but it's interesting to hear you say the same thing when it comes to Bitcoin, when it comes to money, because I feel the same way. It's so overwhelming and there's so much stuff out there. There's so much content. There's so many different takes. There's so many. I mean, just to your point, Giovanni with his power law. What a ridiculous thing to be thrown on top of Bitcoin, right? Like,
Yeah, right. Like that was the thing that really clicked for me when I started
yeah.
to understand more of the mathematics. I'm not a mathematician by any means, but I don't know that was just like the cherry on top for me to really understand and go all in on Bitcoin was to understand the the structure of this thing. I don't know, and I totally agree with what you were saying. It's like an absolute information overload. Overload. It's just information obesity. Is you just get like so you just consume it over and over and it's like you can't stop, but then you really got to step away. But this is what Bitcoin I think teaches as well, is that simplicity is key. You got to keep it simple. You got to not like, the whole diversification kind of thing. I I kind of believed in that, but once I understood Bitcoin, it's like why this system that's extractive from us, right? Like why would I continue to support that thing? And Bitcoin is like the exact antithesis of that. So it's like I'd rather support that. I'd rather put my focus, my energy, my time into this thing that is not just for one sect of people or a country. It's like it's a global thing. Everyone can access this thing. So I'd rather support that. So that was kind of like my aha moment personally.
Well, you also, I had this simple realization, even more than just, I agree with sort of the Jeff Booth theory
Mm,
of why do I want to spend my time and energy supporting this other system? And I recently walked away from my job that was the heart of that system.
mm,
I also, just from a practical standpoint, I was like you, I had an investment advisor, I had all this diversified portfolio, I studied markets, blah, blah, blah. And I just looked at my portfolio and I was like, that's underperforming Bitcoin.
mm,
That's underperforming Bitcoin. That's underperforming Bitcoin. And in 2022, I just looked at my wife and I was like, all of this stuff is underperforming Bitcoin. Like, what are we doing? This is ridiculous.
mm,
And we just sold everything and moved it all into Bitcoin.
mm,
And it was so liberating. We fired our financial advisor. We put all our money in Bitcoin and we just don't have to worry about anything else anymore. And
mm,
it has simplified our life so much, not to mention the fact it's outperformed everything we were holding anyways.
mm,
So it's win-win on that front. And it is crazy how we get caught up in all this stuff, and obviously we're recording podcasts and talking about all this stuff, but when you can kind of just put your savings into Bitcoin, step back, go live your life, go make your products, and we'll get to that in a second, what you're doing.
mm.
just it makes everything so much easier, and you're just able to focus on your craft, you're able to focus on your business and be good at it, and that's really all that matters. And obviously your family and other things important
Hmm.
in your life, it just takes all the complexity out of life.
Yeah,
So
I will say though, I think before getting to all of that though with Bitcoin, I think it's important for people to really think about what the hell money even is and why we feel like we can't catch up or we're always trying to keep up. Um, that's something I always wondered, but I never like sat down honestly to think about the history of how we got here with fiat currencies and stuff like that. And it's like it's so crazy. It almost pisses you off that like we've been lied to for so long. And this is the
it
thing.
definitely fits well.
Like it's so interesting. So I really think that people need to learn about money first and just like the history before they can get so pissed off that then they go in on Bitcoin and understand it. Um, Maybe that's just
There's,
me.
there, no, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it's funny because I worked in for a traditional finance company for a giant bank,
Mm,
and I didn't even understand money. I
okay,
kind of
interesting.
I got how the system worked, and I could explain overnight funds rates
Right.
and lending and deposits and lending on top of deposits. I knew how the whole system worked, but I didn't actually really understand like where was this money coming from? What
Mm,
was the source? How did it come into existence? Why do we have this? Why are we able to lend out $9 for every dollar we have on
mm,
deposit? Like, how is that a rule?
mm-hmm.
And okay, so if we only have $1 on deposit, how are we lending out those other $9? Where is that coming from?
Right.
So I never really fully understood it until I got into Bitcoin, and you're exactly right. Like until you see how the monetary system works and fully understand that, I agree. I don't think you'll be able to fully embrace Bitcoin. You might own some and
Mm-hmm.
have it as part of your diversified portfolio, or oh, this is obviously a big deal. The president's talking about it. It's doing things. Everything's going digital. Why wouldn't money? I'll get some, but to be all in on Bitcoin, to really understand what you're holding and want to diversify, to undiversify out of everything else, to consolidate into it without a grasp of how fiat money and the current system works, I don't think it's possible either. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, I was actually looking back at my first Bitcoin buy. It was back in 2019. I think it was like around 7,000, but I ended up selling it early on just because I didn't understand it back then. I wish I
I
still held some of it, and I think we all have that same story.
Yep. I bought some in 2018 and then sold a bunch to help close the gap on the down payment on my
There
house.
you
And
go.
I,
Well,
it's,
that's good.
yeah,
That's
it's,
helpful because I mean, eventually we do have to spend it, but I
yep.
think the future is so that we don't have to spend it or convert it back into fiat. Just instead, we just use Bitcoin. We save, we spend in Bitcoin. That's I mean that's eventually where everything's headed. So
100%. So, all right. So I'm looking at your website here, Oshi. Well, first of all, why don't you tell people what you're selling and how you came to decide? Are you still touring, by the way? Do you still play music or do you do
no,
gigs?
no, it's been
No.
a while. I do some photography stuff for a friend of mine who does some touring still, which I think we went to Japan last. We've been to Japan a couple times. But no, not at the moment, unfortunately. I want to.
Awesome. Well, maybe that can get resurrected one day, and when if your business here really takes off, you can fund the band's travel yourself and everything.
Yeah.
So and not have to go in a van and stay at a hostel and all the
Oh,
fun stuff.
yeah, I know it
Uh,
all.
yeah, I'm sure you do. So, well, why don't you tell people one what your business is, and then two how you kind of came to integrating Bitcoin into it, or was it the opposite that you got into Bitcoin and were like, I want to sell stuff for Bitcoin? We talked to Soap Miner last week, and he
Mm,
he was like, I came up with my business because I wanted more Bitcoin. So curious
nice.
as to hear. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's always curious hearing other people's just weigh in. So, Oshi is just a pecan butter, date bar, chocolates kind of company business that I run, but it actually had a different name before Oshi, and I've been making the pecan butter and these date bars for probably 3 years now. It had a different brand name, and then I sold them to like family friends. There was a couple shops I worked with doing like consignment kind of things, and I did sell some jars and bars, and it's just been this ongoing refinement of what I'm making now. The pecans I do source from a farmer that I've been working with here locally, so we have like a really good relationship. I know where the nuts come from. He's very supportive too, which is really cool. Uh, but
Awesome. Do you get to pay him in Bitcoin?
he's actually really interested though. Like he's actually very receptive. It's funny you say. I first brought it up to him and he was like instantly curious. And then the next time, actually a couple days ago, I went to go pick up another batch of pecans and he actually brought it up to me. He asked me just more questions about it, which is this guy's like 72 years old. He's way up there and
Love it.
he's kind of got the bug and yeah, it's just
He's got the
interesting. He's
curiosity.
got
That's like the first step. Yeah.
exactly. That's the exact words. Like people have to have the curiosity. Like Bitcoin requires you to have like a little bit of curiosity for a lot of things. I come from like also the psychedelics world. So I just have that about me. I'm always curious about seeking like what is true enough anyways. We're not going to ever find what's actually true, but I just have that in me. But back to the Oshi thing. So it's funny. So I had all these glass jars still from the other previous business name, and I was like, I need to get rid of these somehow. And then I joined Nostr maybe 8 months ago. I would use that for like my personal stuff, and then I realized I was like, huh, I have all these jars still, and I think I could sell this stuff here on Nostr for Bitcoin. Like that would be really fucking sick. So I thought about the name change because I wanted to think of a good name. I have a thing with like naming stuff. I really like to think hard about it and make sure it's a good one. And it's got to be simple too. But I just remember thinking about the name change for a couple weeks, and then the name just came to me, just Oshi, because I have a thing for like Japanese culture and their like design and stuff like that. And Oshi, it translates in Japanese to like someone that you give appreciation to or you give like immense respect to, whether in like attention or money or it's just immense respect towards that person. And I thought that was perfect because it's taking homage from Satoshi Nakamoto, the Japanese thing, and it's short for like, oh shit, like this stuff is really good. So it had like these three tier elements of like the name, which I found really funny, to be honest. So I just kind of rolled with it. I just picked it as name and brought what I've been making prior, the pecan butter, the date bars, and kind of improved it a little bit. And that's kind of where I'm at now, selling it for Bitcoin only, on Nostr only. So I think about like when people ask me like, oh, so what do you do? And then I think about like what I would say. It's like, yeah, I sell hodl butter and hodl bars on Nostr for Bitcoin. It's like they're not going to understand a single word that I just said. It's like
Yeah, that's like a foreign language.
yeah, it's so
That's
funny.
That's hilarious. I know. As I left my previous job, people ask me what I do, and I'm like, oh, gosh, how am I going to explain this? I'm the CEO of a startup, and we try to get businesses to understand Bitcoin and adopt it. And they're like, oh, so you're working for Bitcoin, or like
Mm.
it's just so many questions. I hesitate. I've heard a lot of like comics or people like that don't really like to say what they do because they're
Mm.
just like, "Ah, I don't want to deal with the questions. I don't want to deal with the people." I've kind of find myself sometimes in that situation where I'm just like, oh gosh, I don't want to have to explain this to
Hmm.
people.
Yeah, no, totally. I find it funny though. It's just like, yeah, it's just Nostr is an interesting space. Are you on Nostr? Are you guys?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm plebeian on
Oh, okay.
Nostr.
Word. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that's how most people know me. It's funny. I met. Matt Odell, and I said, "Hey Matt, I'm Brandon, blah blah blah," and started talking a little bit, and I go, Also, I'm a plebeian on a Nostr." He goes, "Oh, you got to lead with that, man." He goes, he goes, "That's the only way people are gonna know you." I was like, "Yeah, it's a good point." So. It's true. Well, so I'm curious here. On the website, it looks like you're out of stock of most of this stuff.
Mm.
I know there's demand. So I'm just curious, are you finding yourself overwhelmed with the amount of business that's come your way? Are you able to ramp up more? Do you want to ramp up more? What's your thinking around this?
I it's a lot of hard work because it's just me that's kind of sorting through the nuts first and then processing and then doing all the packaging, do the designing, printing of the labels. Like it's a lot of work just for one person to be doing. But the orders I've brought in, I've been doing this for maybe 3 months, and I'm like looking at the numbers of what I've generated so far. I'm like, wow, it's nothing to be bummed about. It's definitely been a lot of work and it's been paying off, but I just need to optimize a lot of things. The current flow of orders definitely keep me busy. I mean, sometimes there's orders where I have to like try to catch up and I have to like not list anything on the website because I'm needing to fulfill orders first, or I'm waiting for other ingredients to still come in the mail, and so I have to like have everything on pause so I'm not overwhelmed. So it's like, again, still trying to optimize things, but the order flows for now is fine. But I would definitely love to ramp up in some way. It's just, I'm still learning along the way. I'm like stumbling into
Sure.
this. So even like this whole setup of the website and setting up the node and like setting up the whole Cloudflare thing with my Start 9, it's just like this is the kind of stuff, I'm sure we'll get to it, but this is the kind of stuff that might keep people away from accepting Bitcoin because it's too technical and too confusing for accepting payments. And um,
So I couldn't agree with you more. And that's actually one of the services we offer at Sovereign. That's
mhm,
a big focus of, hey, we'll come get you set up on this. We'll show you how to do this. We'll make it seamless, whatever level, we'll get you set up in your own node, running BTC Pay server,
mhm,
how sovereign do you want to be? Or we can just get you set up on something like Zaprite or Flash and have you sweep the funds into cold storage and meet people kind of where they're at on what works. But yeah, all of this stuff is a ton of work. I mean, it's a completely new network. Like you think about, we learned how to write a check in what, third grade,
mm,
fourth grade, how to balance a checkbook. Like we were basically, I mean, I don't want to say educated because literally everything in the public schools is indoctrination.
mm,
I don't really think you learn anything of value in the public schools at all.
mhm,
And you are basically indoctrinated into the fiat system. Like, here's how it works. Let us show you how to do this. And there's all these other things throughout your life. And I know there's the analogy is used a lot of driving a car. It's like, well, you get your learner's permit at 15 and then you go to a class. And it takes all this time and you slowly learn these things over time. And I don't think people are just prepared, like, okay, there's this new thing, this new Bitcoin, especially in the United States. It's like, I have the dollar, it kind of works, the
mhm,
banking rails are fine. I've never been blocked out of my bank account. And it's like, do I really want to spend the time to figure out how to do this and learn this new thing? And a lot of people are just like you said, it's just a bridge too far. It's just too overwhelming for them. They don't want to do it. They're lazy. Things are kind of okay, and
mhm,
they're just not going to do it. And that part of the value proposition we try to offer here at Sovereign is we'll come do all that for you. Like we'll get you up to speed really quickly on this. You won't have to watch the BTC sessions videos that
mhm,
I did. You won't have to learn how to figure out a config file on Bitcoin Core. Like we'll do, excuse me, all of that stuff for you and help you do it because you're exactly right. It is a lot, and especially someone like yourself who's a sole proprietor, for lack of a better term, an owner operator. This just getting up the website, being able to sell online, being able to take Bitcoin, that is in and
Hmm.
of itself a chore and a lot of work. And it may be worth it. I know it is. It's definitely worth it to
Hmm.
outsource those things if you're not up to speed on how to do all that stuff.
Yeah, I had help with the website and everything because I just, it's funny. I thought I would build something on WordPress and then I started dinking around with it. And dude, I hate WordPress so much. I hate the whole like design and UX of it. Jesus Christ. So I just gave up with that. Um, and then I found a guy on Nostr, Bullish. Shout out Bullish. He's been a huge help in like setting up the website and whatnot for me because I run my own BTC Pay server on my Start9, and I've just gotten so much other help from other people that I found on Nostr. I'm so thankful for it because there's no way I could have just done this by myself. I mean, I'm sure I have, but it would have taken me such a long time to learn everything. But I think
That's awesome.
I think that I think one is forced to learn, really. What you're saying about how these people that, they may not want to because, they're comfortable with their situation, everything. They have their bank account, nothing has ever been taken away, but um I don't know. I think some people need to encounter a situation where they're forced to like step back and be like, "Whoa, I need to question this thing that I'm so accustomed to right now."
Well, and the other thing too is it's really hard to view what your life is stepping outside of the system
Mm.
until you actually, excuse me, step outside of the system. And my life since leaving the corporate world, leaving the 9 to 5, okay, get my 401k at 65, stepping out of that world has just been so rewarding and so liberating, and life is just so much better. And you don't even realize that you're kind of trapped in a terrible, awful system
Mm-hmm.
until you step out of it and you're like, wow,
This is
the the
yeah,
possibilities of my life, the the opportunities I've been foregoing stuck in this system. Like I haven't really been living my life. I've just been kind of waltzing through it.
yeah, yeah. It just made me think about psychedelics. I mean, it's kind of like it's really what it does in a very kind of parallel way. It's like you're throwing yourself into a whole other frequency of existence that you did not know existed, but somehow feels more real than you know daily existence. So it's maybe that's why I was so susceptible to it. It's just because I conditioned myself already to be so curious. Um, yeah, I really, really think it's just curiosity. People, curiosity and ego. It's like
Ego's a huge part of
it's
it,
it's
man.
such a huge part. I think it really dissolves it. Same with psychedelics. Maybe everyone should just take a good mushroom or DMT trip.
Yeah, everyone should
That's my
take some
recommendation.
yeah, everyone should take some mushrooms and read the Bitcoin Standard.
Yeah,
I
just
think
just
that
once, just one good trip, and
yeah,
you'd be all conditioned.
yeah, exactly. Maybe like the bullish case for Bitcoin because it's short. You can get that down in like one session.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. I mean, it is so true though that I've participated in plenty of psychedelics in the
Cool.
past.
There
I'm
you go.
a big Grateful Dead fan, big Widespread Panic fan.
Nice.
So no stranger to that world.
That's really
And
interesting.
yeah, and have gotten plenty of awesome experiences out of it. And even before I was into Bitcoin, definitely had some, spiritual
Mm,
experiences. I am a person of faith as well,
mm,
and just I don't know, man. It was like a complete, like you said, it was a completely different like frequency, a different world,
yes.
just a different way to view things, and really made me put my life into focus many times.
Mm,
And it is crazy. It does psychedelics I find do really shrink your ego down, that you're not as important as you think you are. And then Bitcoin comes in and it's like not only are you less important than you think you are, but basically everything you've learned in your life is a total lie and you don't actually know anything.
right.
uh, And that is a tough pill to swallow,
It
man.
is.
That is,
It's the toughest thing to swallow because right from like when you're born, at least how my generation, it's like you're just given all these assumptions that are just taken for granted, and yeah, that's just how things are, and it's like you're not really encouraged to question. Uh, yeah, I just kind of encountered that a few times, a couple times in college. I never graduated college. I dropped out, but just some of my university professors, I couldn't listen to them. And it was just like this intuition in me. I don't know what it was exactly, but
well, I mean, I agree completely. There's something when you're curious where you're just like, that doesn't make sense. Everyone in this class is just nodding. And I remember in Econ 202, we were sitting in a class and it was macroeconomics, and we're talking about how this is affected by that and blah blah blah. And it basically was like there's 8,000 factors that we can't consider, but here's the equation on how to consider it. And it was basically the guy was saying Austrian economics is real. It is a There are so many human actions beyond our control, beyond our understanding, but we're going to try to stuff this square block into this round hole and then come up with a math equation for it. And I just
mm.
raised my hand in a class of, I don't know, a couple hundred, few hundred people, and was just like, how could we ever account for all this stuff?
You know,
And
I have such a similar story. It wasn't an econ. It was I think it was some sort of English class or some sort of writing. We were going over the syllabus the first day. Like, first off, I don't know why we were spending any time just going over the
syllabus
syllabus.
day, that was the best.
Yeah. So we were going over that for whatever fucking reason, and
Yeah.
we go. She goes over the plagiarism part, and she utters along the lines of, "So if I think you cheated, you cheated." And I raised my hand. I was like, "Wait, can you repeat that again?" So if you think we cheated, we cheated. And just like that mental framework that she showed me that she had, it just totally dissolved my trust in listening to anything that she says. Unfortunately, maybe that's like pretty rude of me, but like that stuck with me, and I just I walked out. I couldn't stay in there. I was just like, this is a waste of my time.
Yeah, it's a completely illogical
I
conclusion.
just couldn't believe that a professor who's making like 80 grand a year has just utters that thought, or like it's
It,
crazy.
it, it's it's similar to the story I gave where I'm acknowledging that this is an illogical conclusion, but it's true, so accept it.
Yeah.
Like, well, how can we live like this? That's
Yeah,
impossible.
yeah. I'm always open to just learning. I'm always trying to just find what's better than what I know right now. That's actually true. That can help me, and and make sense across the world. And it's like bound in nature. I'm always curious for that solution. And Bitcoin it's nature in like digitized form in a way. It's like the guiding principle.
It has rules and laws that can't be broken.
Right.
Like you're not going to walk through that tree. You're not going to be able to breathe in that lake.
Yeah.
And you're going to make more than 21 million, and you're not going to find a block every 2 minutes.
Yeah. It's like you're gonna argue with gravity. It's like, okay, well, good luck with the rest of your equations. Then it's like,
Yeah, yeah. It just is a universal truth, and it will take people a little longer to realize it than they should, but
mm.
it will happen because it's true, and that's another beauty of being all in Bitcoin, making the decision to go all in Bitcoin is when you realize, oh, this is just true. It just is, and so
It's true
therefore,
enough. It's true enough, because things are constantly changing, evolving, refining itself. Because as systems evolve and get more complex, they actually become more efficient. Um, which some of those key principles stay, but a lot of them just get more refined over time. So it's good to just be open and to flow. And yeah, no, you're completely right though. But like true enough, I think that's a better way of
fair, fair.
yeah. But I completely agree.
All right. So back to so the business. So when did you start putting your butters and your bars online on Nostr for sale?
It's about 3 months ago now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been received well. I love hearing people's thoughts about once they taste it, and it's just like a very unique thing, I find, anyways. And yeah, it's just kind of curious how I came across it. So originally, I had this fascination, and I still do. I still do this occasionally, about fasting. I thought fasting was such an interesting thing because I was on this like health kick. Still am very health conscious, but I just wanted to learn about fasting and the whole history of that, and ran down the rabbit hole of like Ramadan and how they break their fast with dates and water. And I was like, dates? Dates are interesting. I've never had a date. So I remember going to my local Publix at the time. This was maybe 3 years ago. Found a box of dates, walked out of the Publix, didn't even get to my car yet. Tried the date, and it just like blew my mind how amazing these things are. It's such an amazing fruit, and it led me down to somehow making tahini for a while, and then
You go on the Middle Eastern theme.
yeah, I was just like really curious, like on what to pair with these dates that I learned from Ramadan, from learning about fasting. It's just like, just one thing after another, and then somehow pecans hit the radar, and then I started doing some research in terms of like, is there any farms near me that I can, work with? And sure enough, there was, and I just reached out, and 3 years later, and just like this great relationship with him, I learned a lot. And then the whole combination of pecan butter and dates, oh my gosh, like it excites me just thinking about it. It's so good. It's like the best combination of food I've ever experienced personally. So
I
that's
love pecans. A highly underrated nut.
they're
Pecans.
the highest one with the best antioxidants. So it's really cool.
I didn't even know that. I just think they're delicious. I mean,
Hmm.
I don't. Speaking of health kicks, yeah, I mean, I've been gone pretty much full carnivore.
Hmm.
Maybe like keto is a more accurate description. I had all sorts of health issues and stuff that have been cleared up doing that. But man, like once or twice a year, I'll do a little sweet treat. And man, pecan pie is like atop that
Ooh,
list. Some of the
same,
best.
same.
Oh
I
man,
think I think that's where my interest for the butter eventually came in because I always loved pecan pie. Like, oh, first off, do you say pecan or pecan?
I say pecan,
Nice. That's the proper way. I find myself saying it both ways sometimes. I don't know
but I'm from the north, so I think in the south they would run me out of town. It's pecans.
why. Big emphasis on the A. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Nasal.
Yeah, which ironically is how I talk, being from Chicago, but that A does not get elongated.
Yeah,
So
my family's from New York, so.
yeah. Um, but so in selling all this stuff, I see you're out of stock of everything on the website. Is that just you're working on getting more inventory out there, or
Yeah,
what's
so I have a few orders I'm trying to catch up with and make because I still have stuff in the mail. So that's partially why I haven't updated the website. I do have I think I have 16 jars of butter ready to go. I just want to get these orders filled out first before I list everything and then have a whole other rush of orders come in because it's like sometimes it's hard for me to keep up and keep myself organized because sometimes the amount of orders it's like kind of too much, but I can handle it. Because it is a lot just like packaging this stuff up. It takes a lot of like newspaper and like packaging materials to really do this. I try to do this like cost wise efficiently, but also try to do it well. Um, so yeah, I do have inventory. I do have like jars ready to go. I actually have some bars right now ready to go. But yeah, like I was saying, I just have a few orders I need to fulfill first before I list everything on the website now. So I guess it's a good problem and a bad problem at the same time. Because there's like a small demand. I don't. It's not like an overwhelming amount, but there's definitely people that really love this stuff. I've had a few orders. People buy like 8 jars of butter at a time, alongside 16 bars. Yeah, it's crazy how like the large orders that come in. It's nice.
that?
I feel like I should do more of that. Only.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome. I'm curious. So are are all your customers Bitcoiners from Nostr? Do you have other kind of previous network that's buying this stuff from you? What's been your customer mix?
It's been all Nostr. It's been Nostr and Bitcoin every sale on for Oshi. Now, granted, I may have like a friend outside Nostr that wants a jar, and sure, I'll take the cash from them. But for 99% of the sales for Oshi, it's been on Nostr for Bitcoin. So it's like
That's so
it's
cool.
I know it's so cool. It's so weird. It's so funny how I just stumbled into doing this, and it really kind of had um, this way from me thinking about all the glass jars I had in my house that I needed to get rid of to make more space, and then thinking about selling it on Nostr to help get rid of them, and then just being sucked into it more so. It's like, well, I guess I can keep doing this for as long as there's like demand, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I love working with my hands. I love like just creating stuff. You know, I'm an artist. I do photography. I'm a musician. I somehow now cook and stuff, and just like I love being creative. I just love it, and especially earning Bitcoin now for it. It just feels right. It makes sense to do this. Um,
That's awesome. I find that people that make stuff for a living, that physically make things, are much better grounded and sort of rooted in reality and sanity. They just have a greater calmness about them than people stuffed in a cubicle, filling out spreadsheets, doom scrolling all day. Like you can tell who's like agitated office employee versus who's out actually making things and has their mind focused on creating something as opposed to just staring at a screen and being shuffled around whatever rage bait narrative is flowing around the internet.
Yeah, I'm always the one that's outside in the sun. I walk barefoot pretty much everywhere that I can. Like I'm always outside, just like I don't know. Yeah, I feel.
I
Go ahead.
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel very fortunate that I have this like persona or this like interest in things about life itself and myself, and I'm still figuring things out. It's a lot for me to learn, but I'm just thankful that I have like the curiosity for things.
We all are figuring all this stuff out. I mean, I recently, to your point, walking around barefoot, getting out in the sun. I've been trying for the last couple of years to maximize my sun exposure. Even when I was
Mm,
working in corporate America, I would go outside on like a 8-degree day and just go sit
mm-hmm.
and just let the sun hit my eyeballs for 20 minutes because I would feel so much better. And it wasn't even close. I had so much more energy. I was so
Mm.
much more relaxed. And people thought I was nuts, but I was like, I'm not nuts. You guys are nuts. You guys keep staring at this computer screen for 7 hours straight,
Yeah.
and I know how you feel. You feel agitated, your eyes hurt, your nose hurts, like,
Mm.
and putting on, going down the blue light rabbit hole, and
Yep.
now I wear daylight blue blocker glasses and
Same.
nighttime blocker
S-
glasses, and they're total game changers. Like all this stuff, you get to you, speaking of true enough, it is true enough. It's materially affecting my life, and I live it, and figuring all this stuff out as you go through life, it's amazing, and then it's kind of demoralizing too. It's like,
yes.
gosh, I wasted so many years of my life not
Yes.
knowing stuff, not figuring this out, and why did it take me so long to,
Yes. That's
I mean,
exactly what I've been going through lately. Is exactly that. It's just this amazement that I've been asleep this long, and now I'm realizing all these things that intuitionally I understood. Like I had the feeling. It's really funny, dude. Like, gosh, it brings up two things I want to mention. Is like, so do you know who Aldous Huxley is? I'm sure you know
yeah,
Aldous Huxley. Yeah. So
yeah,
he has this book that I have a first edition copy actually. It's called The Art of Seeing. I'm not sure if you ever heard of this book. I'm not sure many.
I
Yeah. So, Art of Seeing. He's in the beginning of the book. He talks about. Well, I mean, so Aldous Huxley. He was practically blind when he was younger, and he went to this Dr. Bates guy who basically taught him natural methods into fixing his vision, basically, and that's what the book is about. All these different techniques, and he mentions in the book just some historical stuff that like around the 1920s, early 1920s, 30s, there was no concept of like sunglasses. No one wears sunglasses.
No.
Um, so this like thing that came back around like in the 30s or something with like Coco Chanel or something like that and advertising and stuff. Like the whole thing of blocking the sun, since we're talking about light, that communication with the light, which then tells your body what to do. You're blocking that with sunglasses now, and people are just wearing sunglasses every day and just totally taking away that information that they could be taking in for their body to be producing the hormones that needs to be produced. And it's just like the very simple mechanism that people may overlook, but like light itself is the source. It's actually more greater than like the importance of food. Um, so it's like I think
I
understanding.
notice when I get more light, I need less food.
Right,
I'm less hungry when I get more light.
right, same. So
I've gotten rid of my sunglasses. The only time I ever use sunglasses is for fishing, and I refuse to use them any other time.
yeah, I don't.
They're
I haven't. I haven't even. I don't think I've actually even purchased my own pair of sunglasses. I've always been either gifted them or, but I haven't worn sunglasses in like more than a decade. And another thing I've never purchased. I always like to joke with this on people, but it's true. I've never actually purchased a coffee. I've never bought coffee. I don't drink it. Is that
well,
crazy?
that I can't agree with you on. I drink quite a bit of coffee. So
I feel like I'm the like black sheep here. I just like yeah, I don't. I've never bought it.
well, it's fun. It's funny you say that because all of these things that we're talking about, the blue light glasses, walking around barefoot, getting outside when it's 10 degrees outside, all these things make you look like a psychopath in society. It's exactly society is designed to, if you go outside the norm, if you go outside the herd, you're going to look like a crazy person. You're going to get called a crazy person, and I've been called a crazy person my whole life doing things that are outside of the norm. And it's, I you the system is designed to make you feel uncomfortable doing all these things, yet all of these things are exactly what you need to be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the good stuff is found on the fringes. That's what I found. It's like that's where it's at. It's you got to go on the fringe of things to really discover the true enoughs of the world. That's where they're at, and it's really neither left or right or this side or that side. It's rather the line, the interface of the yin yang. That's where it's at. It's very delicate balance to be, but that's where it's
I mean,
at.
I grew up in a Christian household and a person of faith myself,
Mm,
and but I've always been more conservative leaning just in general. But to say that like the Republican Party represents any sort of conservative belief or anything, like I spent so long in that world. It
mm,
was like on
interesting.
Team Red. And it was interesting too, being a person of faith. I was like, well, if you claim to be a Christian, how can you not be a Republican? And it's like then I got to the point where I was like, oh, these people are just as awful. Like there's really no difference between these people. They're all sucking at the teat of the money printer. They're all here to
Mm.
enrich themselves and
They're the least. Yeah, they're the least spiritual people. Like
yeah, they're soulless. I don't even know what to like. They're just Draculas,
lizard
and
people.
just yeah, they are lizard people. I mean, they're just sucking the life out of an entire country. There's like 550 people just sucking the life out of all of us, and I had to step out. I had to break myself out of that mental mold where it was like, oh well, Team Red is good and Team Blue is bad. It's like no, everyone's bad,
Mm,
and it's your beliefs and values that matter. And none of these parties hold up any beliefs or values. There's no ethics. There's nothing. Great. Okay, we're done chopping 8-year-olds' wieners off.
mm,
Great, huge.
mm,
You're still morally bankrupt, ethically bankrupt, and you're going to go start another war. And okay, so we don't have a fourth grader in this country that's castrated, but we're just going to go murder some
mm.
brown people, some more, Eastern Europeans. Like it's just, it's all such a charade and so ridiculous that we
Mm-hmm.
even entertain this. And that was me, to your point, the sort of yin yang, there's a line where it's
Mm-hmm.
values based, it's values based, and you have to look at and ascertain, is this situation, is this person actually a person that holds the same values I do, or are they just trying to extract more from the
Mm-hmm.
system that they're perpetuating?
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Another thing that came to my mind, other than curiosity, is consistency. The way that I drive my car, I use the cruise control like 95% of the time. I'm not trying to rev up, I'm not trying to slam on my brakes. I'm always just trying to flow, go about five over. I don't speed, but I don't go exact. But, I think there's this aspect of consistency. And I think Bitcoin also follows that, especially when you think about power law, because it's a consistent slow growth. It's not exponential, because all exponentials end with a crash. It's basically like what caffeine is. It's like you get this spike up and all of a sudden it's just down because it can't sustain. It's like, well, Bitcoin's the exact opposite. It has strength in numbers. It has just immutable aspects of nature embedded into it design wise, and it has this like consistency aspect to it where, again, the slow growth. Like, you want slow consistent growth. You don't want quick access to, the goal right away. It's like there's so many lessons. There's so many lessons to be extracted from Bitcoin, or even just understanding what Bitcoin teaches you. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's
I'm a cruise control maxi myself
my
as well.
guy. Hell yeah.
I go like eight over, but to each their own. I feel like that's kind of if you start getting close to 10, I feel like that's where they're going to pull you over. But
Yeah, yeah.
if you can keep it like at 7 or 8 over, and then give yourself a little wiggle room if
Mm,
you're like moving down a hill or something, then I think you're good.
yeah, that's the
That's
way.
my that's my analysis at least. But about the coffee, see, you just got to keep drinking it all day, and then when you crash, you fall asleep.
Yeah, that's the money printer.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, caffeine is the money printer.
I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I have a cup in the morning and a cup in
Yeah,
the afternoon.
that's fine.
I,
I'm
I,
not.
I'm
I don't mean to like shit on coffee. I don't
oh
drink
no,
it.
you're welcome to shit on anything you want. We won't go down that rabbit hole, but I have found some studies that there are some health benefits to it. But
Oh, I'm sure.
caffeine, yeah, caffeine itself, yeah, um, TBD. All right, so s- so back to what you're selling here. I mean, do you have plans for your business to grow? I know you said you may want to, like, would you be willing to, or not willing, but would you be wanting to hire someone, bring them on, maybe scale things up a little bit? And also, one other thing I wanted to ask you about too was, I'm curious as to sort of the stickiness, no pun intended, with your customers. Like, are these repeat customers you're seeing? Are these people that are like, hey, I told my mom about this, or I told my other Bitcoiner friend about this? Just curious as to sort of the um the grassroots nature of your sales and who's buying it.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, a lot of this stuff has come from Nostr, and those people that have purchased one time have repeatedly bought more stuff. Um, I just try to make sure that the product is good, and I'm always good with like replying, sending emails, writing thank you notes, and every single package. I'll just say I've probably had maybe like close to 200 orders in the past 3 months, which is like a lot for me. I mean, I'm just one person like doing all this, so um, it's kind
No,
of,
that's super cool.
yeah. So about 200 orders in about 3 months. I'm not gonna nothing to hide here, like, but I mean it's not like a tremendous amount compared to like other businesses, corporations, whatever, cranking out stuff. So a lot of this stuff is handmade. All of it's handmade. So to your question about the whole scaling thing, I question on how I would do that. Yeah, I would love some extra help, another hand. I just don't know how to like.
You would basically have to train someone, right, to learn the
Yeah, I would
process.
have to train somebody, but like to like afford them,
Right.
it really comes down to that, because, and also like the pecans themselves. It's not like all the time ready kind of thing. It's like if we have them, sure, but like sometimes we're running out. I actually have running low for this year, so may have to wait until October, November for some more nuts. So it has like this kind of scarcity asset to it, um, which is kind of cool. So I'm not sure how to like scale this thing into like, and I don't even know if I want to scale this into like a mass production kind of thing, or rather keep it kind of what it is. Obviously, like improve it, but I don't know.
Well, that's what's so cool about Bitcoin is I talk to a lot of these business owners and it's like I actually don't want to scale. I just want
Mm,
to keep it at this. And
yeah.
the fiat system has messed our view of business
Yes.
um, up so much that it's like you must grow, you must expand, you have to make an acquisition, but it's like no, you're only having to do that because your money is being destroyed, and the only way to undestroy your money is to grow your business faster than the money's debasing, which is
Mm-hmm.
a zero sum game, and it's not, it's literally not sustainable, not this ESG sustainability
Mm-hmm.
nonsense. Like it's you, not every business is able to keep doing that, and we're not going to be able to just produce junk for people to consume that they don't need because we just need to keep growing and growing and growing to keep up with the growth in the money supply. And I love one of the things I've found talking to people who are using Bitcoin in their business is many of them are just like you said, they're like, we don't necessarily want to grow. Like
Mm.
we're profitable, we're storing our money in Bitcoin, and that's going to keep our business afloat. We don't need to grow. We don't need to find new revenue streams. And this is good for me. This is good for my family, and we're just going to keep doing it like this. And
Mm-hmm.
I've found that sort of a consistent undercurrent in a lot of the conversations I have with Bitcoin based businesses.
Yeah, no, it's such a solid point that I think needs to be brought up more is that you're not trying to like please the masses. I don't know where I read it or who said it to me, but you only really need like, depending on the company, of course, but I imagine for my case, you only need like 50 solid customers that are repeat buyers to just keep you going. You're not trying to like go for half the world or whatever. It's like you need just a few constant customers that just support you and you can just go. You can continuously improve that way. You can just thrive through such uh, simple means, especially now that you're on Bitcoin standard. So yeah, it really reconfigures the way that you understand business. Like you were saying, I totally agree. That's such a good point.
And another thing you mentioned was that the repeat customer, that is another constant theme that I've heard talking to all these people running Bitcoin businesses is I have repeat customers, they're happy with my product, they tell people about the product, they come back.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I put the time and effort into making a quality product. Bitcoiners are inherently going to demand quality to part with their stats. They're not going to pay for junk, or if they do, they're going to do it once and they're never going to come back. And that is another not only bond between you as the business owner and the customer, but it is avenue of revenue, like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't need to have 8,000 customers, you need 80 repeat customers. And
Mm-hmm.
that is such such a reframing of business and
Right.
just such a different way to look at things. Like we've just gone so far away from building quality anything. I've told the story on this podcast before, but I've had to replace every appliance in my house, and all of the new ones are worse than the old ones. They all suck,
Mm-hmm.
and they cost more, and they're supposedly top of the line, but they're not. They all suck. Like the quality of all of everything around us is deteriorating because if you're not growing, then you have to skimp on your inputs, and when your inputs suffer, you get a worse product. And being on a Bitcoin standard, running a business on a Bitcoin standard where you're like, I'm trying to please a I don't want to say a handful, but just a different cohort of customers, ones that are going to come back, ones that are going to buy again, ones that will be able to support my business on a Bitcoin standard, it completely changes the product that you're able to produce.
Yes. Yes, and you're automatically connected with everyone else that thinks like you in Bitcoin land. I feel like it's like, there's going to be qualms about some things, but for majority of the greater part, everyone has the same mindset. Everyone has the same value set. Everyone has the same sentiments. It's like that's what you need. You need a group of people. You need to find your people that share the same sentiments, and you're more than halfway home on that regard. And especially if you have like a
Well,
product, a good product, and you actually have like good communication with them, you follow up. And I have a big thing that I've kind of maybe brought to Nostr a little bit is to include a handwritten note in your orders. Like, put your proof of human on a note. Like, actually thank them. Take the extra minute, 60 seconds to actually like write something to them. And I've done that even outside of like Oshi stuff, even like when I was selling like vinyl records for like my band and stuff, or like a photo print. I always write a handwritten note every single time. So,
it's endearing. I've bought multiple products from people on Nostr, and getting that handwritten note, you feel like you have a relationship with the business
mm-hmm,
owner, and a lot of times you do. A lot of times I end up, we talk on Nostr, or we exchange phone numbers, and I have a direct line of communication to the person selling me this stuff. And I would so much rather buy from those people. Like,
mm-hmm,
I want to help these people out. I want to see them succeed. I want to see their families succeed. I want them to prosper, as opposed to like, great, some giant corporation that's going to sell me this thing on Amazon.
mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I need this and whatever, it's in the house, but I don't get excited about it. I don't
Yeah.
enjoy patronizing that company or that business. Whereas when you're doing it this way, when you're accepting Bitcoin, when you're on a Bitcoin standard, and you're having Bitcoiners come patronize your business, like, it just forms a real relationship. And another thing that I find so cool, and I've talked about it before, is this Bitcoin is money that's decentralized, and it's truly decentralized, and it works because it's decentralized. We're decentralizing markets. We're taking products and getting them back to the community level. And whether that's an online community, a digital community, or in person, we're creating these smaller, decentralized marketplaces where people are finding the goods they want, finding the things they like, finding the business owners they like. And that is
Mm.
market in a community that's supporting itself and sustaining itself.
Yeah, I love it. It's pure. It's like the most honest, well-grounded system. It's holographic in its nature, Bitcoin. Think of like what a hologram is, where you can cut it up into different pieces, and the whole is still contained within the smaller piece. So it's like, Bitcoin runs on that, especially with think about the nodes on the network. It's like if like all the nodes go down except one, it's like the network is still running. It's like
Mhm.
it's so robust. So it's like we're establishing like a holographic framework for businesses to actually function as they should. It's like we haven't had that in a very long time. I don't know when that, or have we ever even had that? I'm not even sure. Um, so it's
Maybe a
just
long time ago.
maybe.
Maybe, when we had Main Street and everyone got their meat from their butcher.
Uh
And,
huh.
basically since the invention of the supermarket, we've kind of just been centralizing ever since.
Yeah, yeah. It's really interesting to think about. It makes me think about like the history of agriculture too. It's like, we would always grow for ourselves or the community, but then it got to the point where there was surplus, and then we had to like store that surplus somewhere, and we had to like make walled gardens to secure that surplus, and then other surrounding communities knew that we had that surplus, and then that's kind of basically I think where war started. It's just like trying to get what someone else wanted because of greed or whatever. And there's just so much like that takes you down learning about business and money, and this is just Bitcoin, dude. It's just
I know. I mean, I've gone down
humbles
the
you.
it does. And I've gone down the food rabbit hole hard, and
Yep.
the centralization of that, and the overproduction of slop and poison, basically,
It's
to
so
keep
crazy.
prices. It's just, and it sounds insane, and then you explain it to people, and it's like, nah, that can't be real. And then it's like, no, this is documented. There are
Mm-hmm.
documents explaining this plan. Like this isn't some me pontificating about what I think may have happened
Mm.
or some grand conspiracy. Like this is written down in documents that we are going to produce cheap corn-based products to hide inflation at the grocery store.
And
That was
then
literally
yeah,
the plan.
yeah, and then decimate the middle class while we're at it. So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is just crazy, and it's so cool talking to people like you and other business owners who are selling their products for Bitcoin and seeing this I don't want to say decentralization, but like uncentralization, like the
mm,
role of this centralization back into communities, back into relationships with the producer of things you're putting in your body, of things you're buying from them, things you're putting in your home, things you're putting on your body. It's so cool to watch happen in real time. It's slow
mm,
and it's going to take time. Like you said, we're moving on a power law here, and
right.
power laws are fast. And it's going to take time, but watching it happen and sort of extracting yourself back from the everything's moving so fast, it's all crazy, the news cycle's 4 minutes,
Mm,
and like stepping back from that, and but then realizing what's actually going on here as we rotate out of this high time preference terrible money into low time preference money, and watching all the changes at the community level, at the individual level, at the business level taking place. Definitely not as fast as all of us would like, but seeing it happen, it is happening.
yep. At a rapid pace, and like you said, it's a slow growth thing. Like you have to. You're gonna burn yourself out. You just like go outside, get some sun. Like just take a break and put the phone. I always have some sort of part in the day where I don't have my phone on me for like an hour. I just like there's a river where I am that I swim in pretty much every other day, um, and I just go
You
out
do the
there.
cold plunge in the winter.
Oh yeah, dude. I'm out there in like 45-degree water, 50-degree water.
Love it.
And if, like how you were saying earlier about when people just like look at you as if like you're just crazy. It's like, yeah, I get that so much. I've embraced it. I love it. That's when I know I'm doing something right.
100%. I love it too. I'm like, it's funny. I'm in my early 40s now, and I've just watched a lot of my friends, just what happens when you turn into your early 40s and don't take care of yourself. And
Yeah, yeah.
they're like, "Oh, you're crazy meat guy. You buy a whole cow and you just eat beef every day." And it's like, well, yeah, but at the same time, not to boost my ego here, but why do I look better than all you guys? Like,
Exactly, dude. Exactly. Like I feel great in my body. Like
yeah,
I think I'd like to think that I do everything right. Um, diet, exercise, out in the sun. I sleep well. I'm creative. I think interesting things. I'm in Bitcoin. It's like, what else would I need? I have a family. Like I'm okay for as long as I just keep staying humble, learning, trying, fucking up, doing it again, refining it. Like you're okay. Like you'll have a good life. I think.
yeah, it's so true. The cold showers, man,
Yep.
it sucks here in the summer in Chicago. We basically can't get a cold shower. The water is just it's too warm.
Mm.
But man, those when you get those cold showers in the winter, yeah, people just think you're nuts. But it's like, it's funny. I actually noticed myself like gaining a few pounds in the summer because I don't get that freezing shower. Like
Mm.
it is definitely helping keep weight off. And I mean, I don't change my diet or anything in the summer. It's no, I would say I actually eat less in the summer. But it's crazy. I gain a little weight because I'm not getting those freezing cold showers. And there's also something psychological too about forcing yourself
Yes.
into uncomfortable situations. Like if you can make yourself do something you know is going to be painful, you know you don't want to do it, and that's the first thing you do in the day, like you can basically do anything for the rest of the day. Like there are no excuses. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be lazy. It's like I forced myself to do that. I can do anything.
Dude, 1,000%. Exactly. I was about to say everything that you just said on that regard. Yeah, I completely agree. There's something about forcing yourself into a situation that you don't want to do, but you know by the end of it, you're going to be number one, okay, and number two, you're going to be feeling better after you did it. So it's like you do that for 6 months, a year, 5 years, like you're going to be a totally different person in the way that you perceive difficulty. And that's that's everything. I mean, perception is literally everything. So if you can actually like modify your perception by just like a cold shower every morning, even though if you don't want to, and you do that for like an entire month and reassess how you feel and what you think about, you'd be amazed. Forget the whole like health, like weight thing, but just like
Yep.
focus on that. Like, dude, you're gonna get then to the weight and everything after that. I don't know. It's
The
just
psychological aspect for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. It's everything.
Yeah, I force myself to do 50 push-ups and a cold shower every morning, and both of them suck,
Hell
but
yeah.
I do them. And and I hate them. Every day I hate them. But I know,
I have the same
yeah, I
feeling for
know
the
I
cold
got
showers. Yeah, I've been doing the cold showers for like, gosh, probably 3 years straight now. Every morning. Sometimes I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this, but I laugh. I start laughing when I'm in it. Like,
Yeah, well, I mean,
it's fun.
in Chicago, I don't know where you're at. You don't have to say, but there's some days in the winter where it's like I can't breathe in there. It is
Mm.
so cold. I had one day last year. It got down to like -10 here. I mean, it was just absolutely frigid. And I remember getting in there, doing the cold shower, and like 30 seconds in, my shins were numb. I couldn't
Mm.
feel my shins. And I was like, this is completely insane.
Yeah.
But I did it and I got out, and you do feel invigorated too. It's not just like psychological. You feel energized, and boy, are you awake when you get out of that cold shower.
Yeah, you're emitting a lot more light, literally, like
Love
internally.
it. Love it. All right, Oshi. I feel like we could go on forever here, but I want to be respectful of your time. And um, I've, as I said, I just love talking to business owners. I love hearing their story. It's so cool to me to just see people focused on quality, focused on stuff that's good for you, and making sure that the customers are happy, and then getting that repeat customer, which, as the Bitcoin Business Podcast, like we're trying to instill these sort of traditional ideas of business, of creating a good product, having good customer relationships, good relationships with your vendors, et cetera, et cetera. And all of these things are possible and made better when you incorporate Bitcoin into your business. And I just want to get stories like yours out there as many times. Just keep beating people over the head, like adopt the Bitcoin standard, and the things you love about business, the things you love about running a company will come back into your business.
Yep. Yeah, well said. I completely agree. But yeah, this was really fun talking to you, man.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate your time. Why don't you tell people where they can find you on Nostr, your website, and maybe a preview at what's going to be available here in the next month or so to purchase.
Yeah, sure. So you can find me on Nostr. That's kind of just the only place where you can find me. You just type in Oshi Good and it should pop up. I'd give you the NPub, but it's too long to remember. But you can also go to the website oshigood.us. I've got some more pecan jars that I'm probably going to list later this week. I think I have maybe 16 left on hand, and I'm getting low on pecans, so I'm not sure how many more jars I'll have for this year. But new things on the horizon. Messing around with more of the THC bites and also some psilocybin bites.
Oh,
So yeah, I actually had a couple people reach out, providing me some mushrooms to experiment with. So that's been really cool. I've always wanted to bring back psychedelics into this some way because that's kind of where I started from, as I was kind of alluding to earlier. So it's kind of nice to bring it full circle in some way. So that's kind of what I'm going to be working on. I don't know when I'll have it ready, but yeah, we'll see. Just little by little.
awesome, man. Well, follow Oshi on Nostr and check out the website, and make sure you get in line to get his butter and his bars before they sell out.
The,
So
the butter's
uh,
good, man. The butter's good. It's just eat it with a spoon, and it's like the best thing ever. I promise.
that's all you need, pure energy, man.
I gotta
Get
get.
out of that cold shower and take a spoonful of the butter, and you're ready to roll.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Thanks so much, Oshi.
All right, brother. See ya.